This is the fifth installment of Steph versus LeBron in the postseason, with Steph holding the 3-1 series lead. Steph riding high after dropping his postseason career-high 50 points in Game 7 versus the Kings, the most points scored in a game. Even after his great performance, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr thinks Steph is underappreciated.
He doesn't surprise me. We all take him for granted because he's brilliant night after night, and we've been watching this for 10 years, and we just, you just have to remind yourself every once in a while, big picture. This is one of the great players in the history of the game. But that's how I felt, back when in my playing days, with Michael Jordan. You'd see it night after night, so you just took it for granted.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
Such a good answer. Perk back with Stephen A. All right, Stephen A., with LeBron being seen as the face of the league for over a decade now, and obviously all of his accolades, do you think LeBron has overshadowed Steph's greatness?
I think to some degree the answer is yes. But I think that as I reflected on this over the last couple of hours, I think we need to really think long and hard about this and give LeBron credit where credit is due without taking any credit away from Steph Curry. LeBron James is an all-time great, Mount Rushmore basketball, universally recognized as a top 3 player in the history of the game, arguably one in some people's eyes, number 2 in others like me. But when you talk about him overshadowing Steph Curry, Kendrick Perkins, Molly, it's not just because of basketball. It's because of who LeBron James has purported himself to be off the court. You would stop shy of calling him an activist, but he has been somebody that particularly in recent memory has been willing to carry that baton and to take on issues and to really attack them with fervor. That is not to say that Steph Curry hasn't given a voice to the voiceless in his own way and hasn't tried to as well, because he has certainly been willing to speak out on a lot of different things. But LeBron's voice has clearly been more profound in that regard. I hearken back to Patrick Beverley and what Patrick Beverley said during the bubble. And he said, let's all stop this nonsense. LeBron's going to decide what we're going to do. And LeBron playing in the bubble, we all playing in the bubble. That's what he was basically saying, okay? And everybody understood exactly where he was coming from. As LeBron went, so did the league. It wasn't just because of his greatness, his unparalleled greatness and with unquestionable greatness. It was because of the fact that he was willing to stand up and speak out. Think back to when Cleveland played Golden State the year that Golden State won, but Cleveland was up 2-1 with Matthew Dellavedova as the second best player at the time because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love had gotten hurt. One of the most memorable scenes was when LeBron James saw the great Jim Brown, who obviously was an elite sports athlete and activist in his own right. And LeBron looked over to him and bowed and paid homage to him. We all remembered that. That was all a very touching moment. Anybody that's black that saw that, it moved us because he was paying homage to that. And what I would say to Steve Kerr is that Steve Kerr has to realize Steve Kerr personifies that himself. Steve Kerr is a 4-time champion. He's been to 6 NBA finals, okay? As far as I'm concerned, he's established himself as one of the top 5-6 coaches of all time. But you know one of the other reasons we think about Steve Kerr all the time? Because of how passionate he is on certain issues. It's gun control, it's violence in the streets, it's activism, it's racism, it's gun control, it's gun violence, it's all of these different things, calling out politicians by name, talking about the kind of stuff that they need to do. It's profound and as outspoken as Greg Popovich gets. We still look at Steve Kerr and defer to him to some degree when it comes to stuff like that. He's not just a coach. He's not just a coach. He's a conscientious observer who cares about the betterment of our society. LeBron James has personified that, and he's done it more so than any modern day athlete. And because of that is why it's kind of overshadowed Steph, because we don't just look at our athletes and just talk about their game. We look at them and we talk about them and all that they bring, no matter where they go. And when it comes to LeBron James, it's done to no one more than that is done with him.
You know what they say is I can't disagree with you with that. Matter of fact, I feel like you're 100% right to that aspect. But when I think about just in between the lines, I think LeBron James played a small part of it, but I think it's others that play a major part into it as well. Because when we think about basketball players, right? When you think about a basketball player, just thinking out loud, you think, oh, tall, athletic, length. You know, you thinking guys that are 7 foot. Matter of fact, when you was getting drafted, guys want to draft 6'9", 6'10" guys. And I think because of the evolution of what we have witnessed, far as guys like a Jason Tatum that's 6'10" on the perimeter, that's dancing with the rock, that's able to pull back and do step backs and hezzy pull-ups. When we think about a guy that like Kevin Durant that's 7 foot, arguably the greatest scorer of all time to play the game on the perimeter at 7 foot. When we think about how Joel Embiid and Jokic has basically changed the game from the center position. They're not your traditional center, what those guys are capable of doing. Hell, when we think about Giannis at 7 foot, the things that he's capable of doing, a guy that we've never seen before, not your traditional power forward. And so when we see all these guys that are 6'9" and 7 foot, we get amazed, and rightfully so, because they have changed the game in their own right as well. But they are also guys that are also able to fill up the box, the box score in other categories, meaning they're able to go out there and get you 10 rebounds and 8 or 9 assists. And I think we fall victim to that because we so used to guys in this age of scoring points that we forget that Steph Curry is dominant in his own right. By just being able to score the way that he do, being on the floor and being a decoy aspects, being able to open up shots for others. So when I think about overshadowing, yes, LeBron plays a small part in it, but I think it's the league overall that's overshadowing Steph Curry because of his size and because he don't fill up the box score like others do.
Interesting. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I want to make sure we have time for this next topic. Coming up late.
Other categories, meaning they're able to go out there and get you 10 rebounds and 8 or 9 assists. And I think we fall victim to that because we so used to guys in this age of scoring points that we forget that Steph Curry is dominant in his own right. By just being able to score the way that he do, being on the floor and being a decoy aspects, being able to open up shots for others. So when I think about overshadowing, yes, LeBron plays a small part in it, but I think it's the league overall that's overshadowing Steph Curry because of his size and because he don't fill up the box score like others do.
Interesting. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I want to make sure we have time for this next topic. Coming up late.